Over 200 experts have shared their secrets to a successful business. Join me, Rose Davidson, as I discover how these experts took their businesses to the next level.
Talking with the experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. Talking about all things business by business owners for business owners. Episode 251 with Dr Libby Kemkaran.
As I was getting more successful as a coach, I realised I was saying the same 6 things over and over again. And it was really funny, but no matter what shape somebody's business was, and I work with people from the startup entrepreneur to multi-million pound big pharma to I've got a vet's practice over in Dubai who's been with me for like 4 years now and is now building her second business. It doesn't matter what shape of business you've got, the same pillars keep coming up. So I just built a system around it. And I came to the point of saying, right, what is it that matters? What is it that actually counts, regardless what your business looks like, regardless where you start? But what is it that you need to know? And it's these same things. And it starts with your terrain. So the T for Tame Your Brain stands for the word terrain, which is all about getting clarity, getting blinding clarity on where are my feet? What is the ground on which I'm standing? Because it's never the same as the map in your head.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com and I'm your host for today's episode. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today my guest is Dr Libby Kemkaran, and she is a business psychologist, a TEDx speaker and circle host, and is a peak performance neuro coach and accredited flow consultant for entrepreneurs. Libby spent 5 years working as a small animal clinician before a car crash left her unable to work as a vet. She then combined her behaviour degree from Cambridge with her business consultancy skills from her time in the city to create the groundbreaking Tame Your Brain program. This helps you grow your business faster by blending together bulletproof strategy with behavioural psychology and neuroassociative conditioning. Libby also trains multi-million-dollar companies in leadership and management, communications, and mindset for sales success. Wow. Welcome, Libby, and thank you so much for joining me.
You make me sound a bit posh, Rose. I don't think I can do half those things. Pretty sure someone wrote that, like on the back of a fag packet.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it'd be nice.
I actually have a friend of mine here in Australia. She does the flow.
Oh, really? Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah, so
I get very overexcited by flow. It's one of the biggest pieces of what I do. Thank you for having me, Rose. Lovely to be here.
All right. Yeah, the flow thing is great because she did a flow chart on me and it was amazing.
Ah, cool. Yeah, and it's one of those. It's literally the biggest light bulb that I do for my clients. And some people cry, and some people have like full-on revelations because it teaches you. It's like the opposite of a school report. Whereas a school report says you're crap at maths, go and do more maths. This says, look, give this job to somebody else because you're better over here. This is your zone of genius. Go and do more of that. And peak performance is all about effectiveness. It's not about efficiency, and people get this really wrong. People talk about efficiency all the time, but it's about being effective in what you do, because we can all do everything. We've all got the possibility to do everything, just like I did a veterinary degree. Nearly killed me. But, we can put our brain towards anything. We've got the capability, but whether we should or not is a different question, because we've got a gas tank that runs out for those tasks that drain you. And for me, that's things like spreadsheets. Give me a spreadsheet, I'll probably break it for you. Ask me to talk to someone all day, I'm really happy there. I can do that endlessly.
She said I'm in actually the right business, doing the right things. They are my flow. So I'm really happy that I actually found a slot. I found my purpose in life finally.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great place to be though, isn't it? When you actually understand what you're good at and what you're able to do really effortless. It's that effortless effort feeling where yes, it is work, but it feels fun. and
It
it feels
doesn't
really
feel like work
exciting.
though. I love doing it.
No.
So yeah, if you love it, it's not work, is it?
Yeah, this is the thing. And I'm a big fan of finding people that are struggling, people that are stuck, finding people that are in that zone where they sort of can't understand why they keep procrastinating, they can't understand why it keeps going wrong. Usually it's a flow block, and usually they're doing something that doesn't sit well with their neurology. And it sounds really basic, but it all comes back to your brain. Your body won't go where your mind doesn't push it. It's all up here. And ladies, best 6 inches you'll ever play with in your life, right here. It's literally like the biggest playground, and it can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and it can be this thing that stops you doing and can paralyze you just if you're slightly out of alignment with your neurological networks. And so when you learn
Absolutely.
more
Yeah.
about that and do more about what serves you, you suddenly get super powerful.
Yeah, before I found I found podcasting as, and I absolutely love it. People are so terrified of it. I mean, I cannot do a Facebook Live and be comfortable, but I can do that podcast and feel totally at ease, and just is like, I don't know, it's
Isn't that
like magic.
interesting?
It's magic.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But it
put
obviously sits well, and it's in that auditory space. So I'm
yeah,
guessing you're much more around that. So I use big cats to represent the 4 different brain types. There's no such thing as a bad cat, right? So I use different types of brain. So you sound like you're more around that lion space where you care about people. You remember people's birthday. You'll organise the leaving drinks in an office. That you're that
that's
person
it.
that
That's
is
me.
the
That's
arm
I've
around the
always been
shoulders.
that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess tame your brain. Tell me a little bit about what it is, and how it works with people.
Yeah, Tame Your Brain came about because I realised, as I was getting more successful as a coach, I realised I was saying the same 6 things over and over again. And it was really funny, but no matter what shape somebody's business was, and I work with people from the startup entrepreneur to multi-million pound big pharma to I've got a vet's practice over in Dubai who's been with me for like 4 years now and is now building her second business. It doesn't matter what shape of business you've got, the same pillars keep coming up. So I just built a system around it. And I came to the point of saying, right, what is it that matters? What is it that actually counts, regardless what your business looks like, regardless where you start? But what is it that you need to know? And it's these same things. And it starts with your terrain. So the T for Tame Your Brain stands for the word terrain, which is all about getting clarity, getting blinding clarity on where are my feet? What is the ground on which I'm standing? Because it's never the same as the map in your head. So we've always got this mismatch between where we think we are and where we actually are. And getting that clarity is the first bit. You've got to know where you are to know where you're going. And so knowing where you're going starts with, well, where do I want to be? So there's no point taking off in a plane and just going and you walk up to the pilot and you say, so where are you off to? And they go, let's see, let's figure out as we go.
Oh, great pilot, I reckon.
let's see. Well, it's great, but you could end up in Bognor Regis instead of Bali, right? They are very different. I don't know if you've been to Bognor, right? It's a spectacular seaside destination here. It's not a spectacular seaside destination. So it's about understanding this idea of, to throw that bit of tin in the air, you better have a compelling reason for where you're going, and you better know where you want to end up. And that's where I come in, is helping people close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. So you've got this as is picture of we're here right now, that's the terrain. Then you've got the 2B, I want to be over here. How do you close that gap? How do you make those moves? And so Tame Your Brain starts you on that path by understanding that. Then the next step is move. The M stands for move. You've got to take action, right? You can't just think it. Thinking does nothing. You've got to actually take those steps. And a lot of entrepreneurs get really bogged down because they get stuck in this analysis paralysis of like, it must be perfect. And so they get trapped in this, and I have to force them into understanding version 1 is better than version none. Come on, let's go. Let's take those steps. And then the final step is that constant check where a gust of wind can take you off course, a flock of seagulls can fly up and you go this way. You've got to course correct. So you've got to evaluate, re-engineer, and then educate yourself as to what you actually need to do next. And that's that constant adjustment that makes a business successful or not. Leadership is about always being adaptive, always being aware of what's happening around you.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and good enough is got to be good enough, and sometimes I go beyond the good enough and has to be perfect, and then I end up wrecking it because I've made that many changes that it just looks absolutely yuck. Like it's,
And
you
you've
know,
trashed
when I do my craft work and it's like, you know, 1 millimeter
you do
out, and I can see
crafting.
that, and then I have to start again, and I just, yeah, it really frustrates me.
But crafting's a great analogy, right? Because, you know, you start with that crafting with a vision. You start with what is it going to, everything starts with a vision. Everything starts with where am I going? But people forget that and they start playing this deadly game of comparisonitis, and they look at somebody else and they go, I want to be her. I want that. And they forget that you've got to picture it for you. You can't cookie cutter. You can't, you know, I'm seeing this a lot, Rose. I don't know if any of your other guests play in this space, but I'm seeing an awful lot of meteoric rises to success. They're called quote unquote overnight successes, and then they get a tribe of little followers, the little wannabes, trotting along after them, desperate to do what they've done. And it doesn't work like that, because you have to work from self. You know, it comes from here, right? And it has to fit you. It has to fit
Yes,
you.
absolutely. Yeah, I used to have a comparisonitis. I used to be a really bad sufferer of that, and then I just gave it up. I thought, you know, there's nobody like me, and there never
Yes,
will be anyone like me. And why do I want to be
yes,
like somebody else? Because I don't know how they got to be where they are. And,
exactly
you
right.
know, do I want the same challenges? No, I don't think I have enough of my own without having to go through somebody else's challenges. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
so true.
comparisonitis, I really encourage people to give it up. It's bad for you.
Oh, it's so toxic. And the thing is, as you so rightly just said, you know, the experiences that you've been through, that informs your story. And it's not the same as, it can't be the same as somebody else, can it? And that you know, people forget, they see this success, they look at the person, and then they try to be that person, and you cannot be that person. And they forget the confluence of who that person is and the game they're playing is what matters. And it's more the player than the game, you know. And they look at crypto and they go, oh, quick, I better learn crypto. Or they look at mobile dog grooming or whatever the latest fad is this week for
I'm
franchisees.
waiting for mobile dog pooper cleaner uppers and cat box automatic cleaner uppers, so that
Do you have that?
no,
Oh,
I'd
that's
like, oh, actually I do. I have my husband, he does it.
husband's good. That's almost the same. Yeah.
Yeah, almost, not quite.
Is he effective or efficient though? Well, let's identify this. Does he do the good job? Oh, well, there we go. Winning at life, Rose.
I'm really lucky, I'm spoiled. Anyway, we won't go down that track. Now, mindset strategy and why people do what they do
Yes.
is a great
Yes.
topic. It's a great point of conversation, but why do people do what they do, even if they're not consciously doing it?
Yeah. It's a massive game of push and pull. All we are biochemical creatures. We forget that everything we do sits on a biochemical cascade. So if you think a thought, you feel a feeling, it's because of the chemistry that floods your brain and cascades through your body. It's as simple as that. So, and it can go the other way as well, where you see a trigger event. If you've already got some pre-existing neural networks, you see a trigger, you get that twist in your stomach, you don't know why. You know what I mean? That butterflies feeling where suddenly you're like, oh, and you get massively triggered. And that's when it flicks the other way, when the neural network's already there and it tells you, do this because you're in danger. So we've got this really primitive wiring that still runs. So we're basically, Rose, trained to spot the saber-toothed tiger from a mile off, right? Trouble is, there aren't so many saber-toothed tigers anymore. You know, we've got exams, we've got driving
We just
license, we've
have
got
people out in the world that are saber-toothed
people,
tigers.
general
Yeah.
people that are saber-toothed tigers, but we still run the same wiring. We still run the fight or flight mechanism. So your bit of your brain that kicks off will still cascade you with the same chemicals. So you will have the same reactions. You will have, because it's really useful, right? If you're faced with a saber-toothed tiger, there's no point digesting your meal. So let's divert all the blood flow away from that to your muscles, because you might die. And there's, you know, we don't want to think strategic long-term goals. We want tunnel vision, zoomed in on, is this tiger about to spring on me or not? Let's get depth of field going, because I might die. It all makes complete sense until it's a driving exam, until it's, you know, a difficult conversation with a client. Then having really tight calves is not very helpful. So
No.
you know, all of your muscles are primed, ready to fight or flight. Not so good. So we sort of forget that this is why we do a lot of what we do. And understanding this weird push-pull, you know, we are hardwired to move away from pain and move towards pleasure. That's what our brain is for. So if you find yourself blocked, so let's take going to the gym, right? My constant battle with going to the gym is I'm never going to go to the gym, let's be honest. But the reasons you don't go to the gym are because there isn't enough pleasure attached, and there's more pain from going. You know, there's a cost. There's a cost of time. I've got this ridiculously long hair since lockdown. Look at it, ridiculous. And that means I'll go to the gym. I'll get hot and sweaty. I'll have to have a shower. That takes me another half an hour. If I'm doing a podcast afterwards, I've got to put some slap on and brush the bloody hair again. You know, this is a time cost. Is it worth it? Do I get enough pleasure from going? Probably not. So if that voice is louder, that pain that I get if I do, I'm going to stay pinned to that sofa. And then there's your sneaky subconscious brain as well that kicks in with the, yeah, all right, so those are the negatives if I do. What are the positives if I don't? I can sit on the sofa. I can watch the entire series of Bridgerton or Netflix. I can eat an entire pizza and drink 6 cans of Stella or a whole bottle of wine. You know, there's no point doing that. If I've gone to the gym, I'll make a mockery out of it. I can do that if I tell myself that classic line. We all know this one, right? I'll start tomorrow. And that is why we stay pinned to that sofa, because we've got too much pleasure from not going and too much pain if we do. Now, here's the trick. To be super effective, we need to go in the opposite quadrants. Amplify the pleasure if I do go. I'll get fit. I'll get cardiac health back. I'll be able to fit more than my left leg into my skinny jeans. You know, I won't have an arse the size of Milwaukee. There's all lots of pleasure around that. And then there's also the negatives if I don't. I'm going to die of congestive heart disease. I'll be eaten by Alsatians. You know, there's a whole lot we can leverage on the pain if we don't go as well.
The pepperoni on the pizza will eat you.
My arse will eat me at the moment, honestly. It's ridiculous.
So's mine.
Post-lockdown, post-Christmas, what is going on? What is going on? So this is where we've got to understand, if we leverage the right diagonal, that positive if I do, negatives if I don't, that gets you moving. And then if we attack those ones that keep us pinned to that sofa, what are the negatives if I do and what are the positives if I don't, then we get leverage. Then we start to turn the lever, and then we can start to do anything. And this, guys, is the key of how to stop procrastinating for the rest of your life. Draw that grid, list out those 4 quadrants and see what it is that's keeping you pinned in place, because there will be something. There will be something. And it's like magnets. You need a strong enough attraction force and a strong enough repulsion force at the same time. Then you move.
Yep. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. I mean, you know, I think, you know, I've got to do these things. I've promised my son I'd make the table pieces for his wedding.
Nice.
I've already made the invitations and they're already been sent out. But then, you know, that's very nice. But I've got to make these things out of resin, and I don't have to. That's my choice to make them, because that's what and I've never used resin before, and I'm putting it off. But you know, the wedding's in April. It's already January.
Yeah.
And I better start practicing pretty soon to get it right. Or, you know, but I just keep.
Yes, but what's your fears? There's something
that it's going to break and it won't work. That's my fear, I think.
Yeah.
But
so the pain of that is bigger than the pleasure of you
doing it. But once I do it,
yes,
it'll be great. I know that.
Yeah. So you've got to amplify.
It off. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
So I learned to do acrylic pouring.
Nice.
So I make the bases and I put paint on them and, you know, tilted it up and made it all pretty. And I kept putting that off. And when I started, I loved it. I just, give me something else to paint. So the resin will probably be the same. I've just been buying a whole heap of molds and things. So, yeah.
So decreasing the pain level on that by doing a couple of versions and saying which is the least likely to break will calm your brain down enough for you to have, because your brain's looking for proof, isn't it? At the moment, it doesn't know if it's going to break.
Yes,
that's
right.
Breakage.
It's just a mindset thing.
Yeah, totally. Everything's mindset. Mindset is strategy. You know, no strategy comes out your fingers until you've got it lodged here.
That's exactly right.
You cannot make yourself do anything. It's all got to be with your mind in the right place.
So how can we blend together bulletproof strategy with behavioural psychology and neuro-associative conditioning as a business owner?
Well, let's take the wanky words off the table first.
Yes, well, they were
people.
They
scare people, I know.
So you might explain to me what they are.
This is my fancy team writing fancy words. I make it really simple. I make it really basic, because behavioural psychology just means, why do people do what they do? That's it. It literally just means, what is the driving force? No behaviour is designed to be a problem. Your brain doesn't want to hurt you. Your brain's just trying to save you. It's trying to save you the shame and the pain and the guilt if you get this wrong. Because if you screw it up, there's a consequence, right? So your brain is trying to save you from that consequence, hurting your son, making it bad, having the tables look awful. That's running as a little narrative. There's a drive-in movie screen at the back of your brain playing that film over and over again. And so your brain's trying to save you. Yeah. And it's literally going, don't do that, Rose. Don't do that, because you don't want that consequence. So that consequence is looming bigger than the actuality of pouring that resin, pouring that acrylic. And the irony is, until you pour it, you won't know, but your brain thinks and your brain strategizes and your brain goes, ooh,
Yeah,
that's
they're
not
little
a...
bastards, aren't they? They trick you all the time.
I know. And they're like, and we've got to remember, we're human chimps. We forget and we try and think we're all clever and all grown up and we like to pretend our rational, logical brain is driving the car. It's not. It's sat in the passenger seat, tapping timidly on the shoulder of your emotional brain, which is gripping the wheel and going,
boring?
ah! Yeah. And your emotions are in control, right? How you feel about things is actually what makes you do or not do something. And so the feelings you've got about those table settings are bigger than the logic. You know the logic, right? You're clever. You know the logic, but your brain is telling you no. And why? It's because of the hypothalamic pituitary axis. Big word, small meaning, fight or flight. So there's not only fight or flight, there's actually 3 other Fs. There's freeze, friend, and flop. So we either freeze, and that's where you are at the moment. Don't do anything. If I do something, it could be dangerous. So we do that rabbit in headlights. And we look in the other direction. We sort of go, oh, I'll get really busy. The ironing is very important. All of a sudden, ironing is... I must clean the entire fronts of the kitchen cupboards right now. So we give ourselves busy work. And by doing busy work, we kid ourselves that we're doing something useful. Oh, wait, I'm too busy to do those table centres. I'll do this because this is really important. And you kid yourself to make yourself feel better. So when we go into those avoidance behaviours, what we're just trying to do is avoid pain. Your brain just wants to keep you safe. So if you imagine a big ship sat in the harbour and you're the captain of your ship, right? You've got your rational, logical brain driving that ship, but there is a sentry on the deck walking up and down, and the job of that sentry is literally to go, watch out, rocks, polar bears, and to get really freaked out by anything that might cause you risk. It doesn't want you to leave the harbour. Ideally, it wants you to stay right where you are. The brain hates change, but a ship's got to sail, right? You've got to move and you've got to leave that harbour with the risks, with the dangers. So what you have to do is get comfortable with a certain amount of anxiety in life. You've got to get comfortable with understanding that, yes, you will be anxious. And there's a brilliant book about this. Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I'm sure you've heard of that one. It's a classic text from, I think, 1970s, 1980s. And I would urge everyone that's listening to this to have a read of that, because the understanding that as we increase the challenge level, we move into anxiety if our skills aren't big enough. As we increase the skill level, we move into boredom if it's more skill that we have than the challenge that's available to us. So when we're in that boring 9 to 5, we're sitting deeply in that boredom zone because we've got a bigger skill set than we have challenge. As soon as we become something like an entrepreneur or something like a novel project, like doing these table centres, we move into it. You zoom straight into anxiety. The challenge is suddenly bigger than the skills I feel I have. The flow state is right slap bang in between those two. So every time you up your challenge, up your skill. Up your challenge, up your skill. And you stay in that glorious flow state. When we're in flow, we become 80% more productive. We become so much more powerful when we feel that glorious sense of effortless effort. So I don't know if you ski or if you horse ride. It's one of those like big physical things when you're at the top of that slope and you just feel glorious because you know you can do it, but there's enough challenge for it to be exciting. That's where we want to live our lives.
Yes, I know. And when I do accomplish this resin,
yes,
I will just feel wonderful because what was I so afraid of?
What was I so scared of? How ridiculous. That's when your logical brain files that information for next time. And that's where you then have a reference point that you can go back to. Oh, remember when I did that thing? Yeah, I did it anyway. That's why we've always got to keep going out of our comfort zone just by 2% each time.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Then it stretches that boundary fence each time.
Yeah. The podcasting was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I bet.
And I'm so loving it. I just love it. I love the people that I'm meeting and the conversations that I have. And it's just great.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, we'll get back to you. It's not about me, it's about you.
I'm loving your podcast though. This is fun. Nice to chat through.
Books, have you written? I'm sure you've written some.
I have written, but it's not published yet because I'm in that analysis paralysis of constantly thinking, what have I forgotten? What have I not put in? And I think it's actually going to end up being 3 books by the time I've finished, because it's just getting ridiculous. So I've created the program Tame Your Brain. And so there's a book coming out of the same name. Tame Your Brain is all about you understanding enough about your neurology so that it begins to feel easy again. You know, we spend so much time feeling like life is wading through treacle. And my gift to the world is trying to desperately get people back to that grace and ease that when you're living in flow, like you know, I can see it, it's shining out of you. You're totally in your comfort zone. This is where you're supposed to be, right? And I want more people to feel that glowiness and feel that glorious sense of rightness about, okay, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this in the right place. And so that's book one. And then the other angle is this big cat's business brain, because this neurology is really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. There's loads of psychometric profile tests out there, things like Myers-Briggs, Thomas International, things like Prism, DISC, Talent Dynamics, which I'm guessing is the one that you've done. All of these call towards the brain type. So I've turned them all into cats, because cats, you know. So cats are awesome. And there's sort of words that get used in the other profiles which people can have a reaction to. I've never yet met anyone that doesn't like the big cats. So we've got like the mighty cheetah.
Yeah, I want one of each of them.
I think so. I think it's only fair.
Yeah.
I think we should all.
I couldn't pick one. I'd have to have them, one of each.
Yeah. Well, what is normal in the brain is that we are a blend. We're not just one brain type. I've not yet seen a profile where someone comes out 100% of just one. We're all a blend, and that's where the art of interpreting this comes in, because understanding what drives you, which big cat's in charge, is what's really important. So for you, you're very geared towards that people quadrant, but there's 2 people quadrants, and then there's 2 that are the opposite of the people quadrants, and depending on where you sit, and again, none of this is designed to tell you what you cannot do. It's designed to show you where you should spend more of your time, because it will serve you and it will thrill you.
Absolutely,
and then it will
yeah.
steer you towards which tasks you should delegate or avoid, and which are going to be more challenging for you. So for me, don't give me a spreadsheet, I'll break it for you. I will also want to feel like I'm going to poke my eyes out with a spoon, because it's totally out of my flow. Talk to people all day, I can do that. that's something that is in my superpowers. But the data, the analysis, you know, I can do it. I did that vet degree. It did nearly kill me, but I can do it. I can make myself do it. It just will exhaust you. And it just leaves you with that, because that gas tank is quite small. If it's not your main profile, it just drains you. So learning more about what type you are, and we've got the mighty cheetah, who's the, you know, 70 miles an hour or stop, 3 brilliant ideas in the shower every morning, go, go, go. They're like very high level, zoomed out thinking. So they see big picture. They won't see a problem until it's on fire. You know, you have to sort of tap them on the shoulder and go, have you thought about this? Because they're so visionary. They're almost detached from reality, and people sort of get in their way sometimes. And they're like, what? Sorry, I was thinking. But then as you come around, you get to the lion, which is all about that pride, that live together, sleep together, hunt together. You think about the collective, you think about the group, what's good for everybody. And don't mess with these people though, because there's only 2 chairs. You're either in their gang or you're dead to them. And lions are quite precise about that. They love everyone until they prove untrustworthy. Then it's like, yeah, flat no, get out of my gang. And lions are really harsh on themselves. They have the biggest amount of self-talk about how terrible they must have been to do that thing, because they care about connection so much. And of course, the deepest connection is with yourself. So they're really good at beating themselves up. Then you've got the leopard, and I get the feeling, Rose, you're somewhere between the 2. You've got a blend of both of these. The leopard is all about fairness. The leopard sits in their tree watching. So whereas that cheetah is racing off 70 miles an hour after that gazelle that they see, until another one comes along, they go, oh, bright shiny penny, and they get distracted and go off after something else. The leopard is
a
much
bit
more
of that too, yeah, bright shiny
got a
things,
bit of that
you know.
too, yeah. But you will be cautious. You've got a risk averse layer that makes you stop. So I would guess that your cheetah and your leopard sometimes have a little chat and agree that the leopard needs to be in charge now. And that's when you pause. That's when you sort of hold back and you go, oh, let me just, because it's kinesthetic. So whereas cheetahs are a visual processor and lions are auditory, the leopards just feel when something's right. They just know they've got those hackles, you know, and they can spot bullshit a mile off. And they are absolutely nailing. And also, don't mess with these people. Their key things are contract, consistency, and context and connection. So it's not about the people, it's about the process. And if you mess with their systems, If they've got a system for something and you tread on it, they're like, oh no, don't go there. So this blend of lion and leopard, I think, is probably where you sit. But the one that is the final one is the tiger, and that's that cold, steely, risk averse, not you. And that's more about the data, the analysis. That's all about the analyze the crap out of it and see what you feel. Yeah. And that gives you a shudder, right? That's just not your flow. We've all got a percentage of these. So, for example, I'm 12% tiger, but I'm 40% cheetah and 36% lion. So it's very obvious that I should spend more time doing those sort of tasks. I can do some tiger stuff. I can look at a spreadsheet, but it makes me hurt. So when we understand this, it's like the cheetah comes up with the ideas for everyone. So they'll be the one that says, let's have a barbecue. I've got this really complicated recipe for fish cakes that I've never made before. Now's the perfect time to try it. And then Lion kicks in with, let's do karaoke. I'll invite everyone I've ever met. I've not seen them for 3 years, but I'm getting in my address book now. And they're just keen to connect with everyone again.
I put that down to my
like,
bipolar.
That too. But the leopard part of you will be there going, what about the vegans? Have we got enough chairs? I'll do a quick spreadsheet. I'll just do a list. Let me get a clipboard. And they'll be caring for, because they don't want anyone to be left out. They're all about that fairness. The tiger's already going, you do know it's going to rain at 3. Have you even got a gazebo? Like instantly doing the how question. Because the cheetah asks what? The lion asks who? The leopard asks the when and the where. The tiger asks how. And this is where we need to understand people who are not like us, because they just ask different questions. And it's not that anyone's wrong or right. Our brains just go to different directions and we focus on different things. So yeah, that's book number 2.
This has been an absolutely fascinating conversation, Libby. I must say that it's one of the most I've enjoyed in a very long time. You're an absolute delight. And you're going to come back a couple of times this year, don't you worry.
You just like my kittens, that's all it is.
I'm just like, I was going to say something else and it would have come out really rude, so I better not. Libby, where can people find you if they would like to work with you?
I am on Kemkaran.com, so that's just my ridiculous surname and a dot and a com. You can email me. For people that mention your name, Rose, I'm really happy. If you want your own profile, it's a really brilliant place to start getting an understanding of who you are. I will do a nice little discount for you guys. Just mention Rose's name when you get in touch. Just drop me an email, libby@kemkaran.com. I also run a Facebook group, which is where I do lots of free training, and that's called the Sisterhood for Entrepreneurs. And that is a nice little collective, because my biggest thing, Rose, is about, we shouldn't have to have success. This old paradigm, clawing away over a pile of dead bodies to get to success, that needs to die. We need to, it should be together we rise. It should be together for good. It should be that we do this as a collective, as a collaborative, in a way where everyone can help everybody else's success. That's what I'm on this planet for. I'm really passionate about that. So come on into my Facebook life as well, and I will look after you in there. But I'd love to connect with any of you listening to this, because this is such a lovely podcast, and I'm really thrilled to be a guest here. And yes, I'd love to come back, Rose. And it's, anyone in this gang that's interested in this sort of self-development, that is exactly where I play. So I would love to connect with you personally.
Personally perfect, I think. I don't know. I couldn't even get that word out. It must be late. I need to have a cup of tea. Hang on.
Tea is essential for life, right?
All right, Libby, before we go, have you got any wise words that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I have learned so much through this pandemic, and I'm a never-ending student. I'm always trying to learn the next layer. I'm so excited by what we've got. We've got such an amazing confluence. Being alive in this day and age is amazing. There is a digital revolution happening. You and I are talking here across the airwaves on opposite sides. How has that ever been possible until now? We're so lucky, and as females specifically, I feel we're so blessed to be in a place where finally there's a revolution that suits us. The digital revolution puts us in our homes, in our power. The power used to be pinstriped in office. Now look at us. We're here, I'm covering cats, I've got kids roaming around. We're suddenly in a zone where being a mother, being a woman is a position of power. I love that. I bloody love that. But the thing to do is, guys, you've got to take action. So if anything that we've said today is tickling a little part of your brain, is making you a little bit excited, do not just go, oh, well, that was nice, and then go about your day. Go and take one piece of action. Go and do something, because we are alive for a very short time. Then we die, and we will be remembered by a very small amount of people for a very short time span. That is it. Go and make it count. You've got 99 years on this planet maximum. Go and do something. Start building your legacy today. Don't wait for somebody to tell you to do it, because you know if you're inspired by anything that we've said today, and I'm really thrilled to help you, thrilled to help guide you on this. You know that you're here to do something. You're not here just to be a consumer and then die. There's more to life than just consuming. What can you give? I really honestly believe that we're all here to serve and to do it with honour. And I'm really passionate about helping people do that. So come at me if that stimulates you in any way, and I will help you on your path.
Libby, you're such a lovely person. I think I'm going to fly over and give you a hug.
You just want the kittens again, don't you?
I do.
You do want the cats.
Libby, thank you so much for joining me and making this such an enjoyable episode. I've had an absolute ball.
Been so
and
nice
I will talk to you again very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lovely to be with you. Thanks.
Talking with the experts.
Thanks for joining me on Talking with the Experts. Make sure you subscribe through your favourite podcast app or on YouTube, and check out my Patreon page for more value for you, or you can buy me a coffee. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. I look forward to your company next time when I'm talking with the experts.